Starting us off at number 10 is the Altamira cave paintings. These cave paintings are located near Santillana del Mar, which is in the northern part of Spain. Funnily enough, the paintings were discovered by accident by a hunter named Modesto Cubillas in 1868, but weren't giving much mind until 1879. These paintings shocked everyone, and I mean everyone. Why? Because it was so well preserved, specialists seriously doubted their authenticity. The paintings were done around 35,600 years ago, yet their colors and details were so vibrant it was quite suspicious. It was only at the start of the 20th century that they were accepted as authentic. These paintings are single-handedly the biggest pieces of evidence of Magdalenian culture, and most depict charcoal and ochre, let me know if that's how you say it, pictures of horses, handprints, and bisons. They were so impressive that Picasso himself said after Altamira, all is decadence. I mean, that's pretty heavy words from Picasso himself. Coming in at number 9 are the aliens. These pictographs were found in the Woonamarra Gorge in Australia. Again, my apologies if I said that wrong. These paintings date back to approximately 3000 BC, and they depict the Aboriginal Wandjinas, I hope I said that right as well, I probably didn't, I'm sorry, which is a type of religious deity or supreme spirit that were the creators of land and people. But the way they've depicted them is just super weird. They literally look like white versions of the alien emojis on our phones. White faces with no mouth and large black holes for eyes, and they also have this sort of halo around them. The other black figures drawn amongst them look like what can only be described as closely resembling Dementors from Harry Potter. Some interpretations of these paintings say that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth tens of thousands of years ago and had direct contact with these people. Some Aboriginals believe that they even played a role in creation, which could explain why they drew the Wandjinas looking like aliens. At number 8 we have the Chauvet Cave. This one is located in the south of France and only really gained notoriety in 1994 after 3 speleologists discovered its walls were covered in Paleolithic artwork and that it also contained the fossilized remains of various animals, many of which had become extinct by then. So that's a lot of useful scientific and historical knowledge in that cave already, and we haven't even specifically talked about the art yet. The cave shocked people for many reasons. It was ridiculously large, and the quantity and quality of the artwork found was quote-unquote spectacular. It's literally been named a cave that has some of the best preserved figurative cave paintings in the world, which is insane since most of the art there is 30 to 32,000 years old. The paintings had animals in there that had never appeared in previous Ice Age paintings, as well as many other animals that had. Surprisingly, it had no paintings of full human figures, just one figure that seemed to be a vulva attached to an unfinished pair of legs. As of now, it's one of the most significant prehistoric art sites on Earth and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Filling our number 7 slot is Las Gil, Las Gil, Las Gol. There were so many types of pronunciations, I really don't know which one's right. Please don't slate me in the comments. These are the cave formations found in the rural parts of Hargeisa in Somaliland. Even though the cave was known to locals of that area for ages, the caves only gained international attention in 2002 when an archaeological survey was undertaken by French researchers, and they were shocked to find this cave undocumented. The cave contains very vivid paintings which are some of the earliest known cave paintings in the Horn of Africa. The rock art was created between 9000 and 3000 BC, and it's so well preserved till this day because of the granite overhangs. The artwork features cattle in ceremonial robes with humans, and the necks of the cattle are embellished with plastron, which is basically the flat part of a turtle shell. I didn't know that either, but now you do as well. And they also include other animals like dogs and giraffes. The colors on these paintings are so vivid, I would believe if someone told me they literally painted them a month ago rather than thousands of years ago. Now at number 6 are the psychedelics. Tassili N'Ajjar is a national park located in southeast Algeria. And of course, these caves also became part of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites list in 1982. Most of the art in there dates back 12,000 years, and there are more engravings than there are paintings. There are 15,000 engravings in the cave, and they consist of mostly large animals like crocodiles and antelopes, and it even has humans dancing and hunting. But they also include something called fungoid rock art. Back in 1989, psychedelics researcher Giorgio Samarini claimed that the paintings that look like fungoids were proof that people inhabiting the Sahara Desert had taken psychedelics. There's one bit of artwork that depicts various masked figures in a line dressed as dancers surrounded by festoons, and each dancer has a mushroom-like object in their hand with lines coming coming out of the mushroom and connecting to the dancer's head. Now it's obviously open to interpretation on what the picture means, but I think you can see why Giorgio took away from it what he did. And believe it or not, psychedelics aside, the caves also house alien depictions. Flying saucer-like figures in the sky and people that look like humans but have one eye and just have very alien-like features. The pictures are quite creepy, I'm not gonna lie, but these caves seem to just have it all. Coming in at number 5 is the prehistoric Sistine Chapel. Yes, I'm not kidding you, that's what some people have nicknamed the Lascaux Caves. Located in the southwestern part of France, there are a lot of caves in France on this list, I just realized. The caves have in them more than 600 paintings, mostly of big mammals in the area, humans and abstract signs. The art inside the cave is meticulously split into those 3 categories. The paintings were the product of a huge combined effort spanning many generations. The earliest painting was done 17,000 years ago. However, there's one painting called the crossed bison that grabbed everyone's attention. The crossed hind legs of the animal create the illusion that one bison is closer to the viewer than the other. The fact that Paleolithic cave painters had that skill and primitive form of perspective is evidence that they were advanced for their time. And funnily enough, the entrance of the cave was found by an 18-year-old walking his dog, and his dog fell into a hole which ended up being the tunnel. The boy came back with 3 friends thinking the tunnel was an entrance into the Lascaux Manor, but then they found the paintings. By 1995, the cave had 1,200 daily visitors, but that created a preservation problem because lichens and crystals began to develop, and on top of that they started having a huge fungus problem as well, so they've convened many times to see how they can preserve the cave. At number 4 are the X-ray paintings. The Kakadu National Park is a protected area in the northern part of Australia, and the place is massive. I'm talking the size of the country Slovenia massive. It's also home to one of the Earth's biggest concentrations of rock artwork. Some are nearly 20,000 years old, and they provide an insight into Aboriginal life like nothing else has before. The park has 2 main galleries, Burunkai and Uber. I'm sorry if I pronounced those wrong, I know I did, I'm sorry. For these people, the act of painting was more important than the painting itself, and so they cover older paintings with the newer ones. The art shows the objects they use every day, the things they do, and the animals they hunt. Some paintings can only be done by the person with the right knowledge, so someone who had no magic knowledge could not do a sorcery painting, for example. They would paint animals in order to place them in touch with the spirit of that animal, which would hopefully ensure them a successful hunt. But the painters didn't just draw the animals, they drew their organs and their bones as well, which is the first time discoverers had found depictions like that, and hence they were called X-ray paintings. Filling our number 3 slot are the underwater paintings. This one's about the Koski Cave located near Marseille, France. The cave was discovered by a man named Henry Koski back in 1985, but the public only found out about it 6 years later when 3 divers actually got lost and died in the cave. But if you wanted to find the cave today, you would just have to go through a 175-meter long tunnel, which is all well and good, except the entrance to that is 37 meters under sea level. That puts a bit of a spanner in the works, I think. Sadly, 4/5 of the cave's art was permanently submerged underwater and hence destroyed, but 150 pieces of cave art are still intact. Art like hand stencils date back to 27,000 years BP, and the newer art of different animals and signs dates back to 19,000 years BP. People were stunned at the fact the art was A, underwater, and B, it was partially intact. In circumstances like that, the art would usually be lost, so it was miraculous that it hadn't been, and that's why it deserves the number 3 slot, I think. You guys can disagree. Now at number 2 are the Magura cave paintings. This cave is located in the northwest region of Bulgaria. All the paintings were done from bat poo and are done on stone. This is probably the most extensive series of cave paintings ever found, and they actually cover a range of epochs. The Neolithic, some other ones that I can't pronounce so I'm not gonna try, and even the start of the early Bronze Age. There are more than 700 drawings in the cave, and they fall into 4 groups: zoomorphic, symbolic, anthropomorphic, and geometric figures. The figures are mostly stick figures and not extremely detailed, but it's very easy to grasp what they're trying to depict. The cave was formed nearly 15 million years ago, and you'd have to walk a good 1.6 miles to cover the whole thing. It has one main gallery that includes 6 halls, and the largest one being the Arc Hall that's 69 feet high and 420 feet long. This cave is filled with quote-unquote art and is bigger than nearly all art galleries in the world. No wonder people were shook, I would be too. And finally, Firstly, at number 1 is the Cave of Hands, also known as Cueva de las Manos. These caves are located in Argentina and are insanely famous for the numerous hands painted inside the caves. The art dates back to 13,000 to 9,000 years ago, and obviously a lot of different groups of people occupied the caves during that time. I mean, some of the earliest artwork has been carbon dated to 7,300 BC. All the hands inside the cave are stenciled, and most of them are left hands, indicating that the people probably used their right hand to hold the spraying pipe, or they sprayed the back of their right hand with their left. It made sense, trust me. Either way, the cave was filled with hands. There was also artwork of full human beings, geometric shapes, hunting scenes, etc. They used mineral pigments to make the images, like iron oxides to get the reds and purples, manganese oxide to make black, and so on. The site became a UNESCO World Heritage Site back in 1999, and people were glad. It's not every day you stumble upon a cave that's filled with sprayed hands dating to 7,300 BC. Just thinking about how much history took place in that cave and all the different people those hands could have belonged to and what their lives would have been like, I mean, it just blows my mind, it really does.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have this hunting cave painting. This painting comes to us from an astonishing 44,000 years ago and was found on the wall of a cave on an Indonesian island. Researchers were able to date this painting that far back due to the fact that the cave it was found in is still living, which means that rock formations have been growing over the painting, and by being able to date those, they know that it is at least 43,900 years old, but it could potentially be even older. The painting features what looks like a hunting scene with 4 wild pigs, some small buffalo, and a group of really small hunters with spears. The strange thing about these hunters, other than their size, is the fact that they're all human and animal hybrids. They all have elongated faces like an animal snout, and a lot of them have tails. There's even one tiny human thing that has a beak. We don't really know why they depicted the hunters this way or why the animals are so much larger than them. There also were no other usual signs of human life found in the cave, such as bones or hunting tools. This cave may have acted as some sort of special or sacred spot for them, but I can't imagine a sacred spot that only holds a strange hunting painting. It definitely sounds a little creepy to me. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Ambassadors. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. Okay, this one might not exactly be old enough to be considered ancient, but this is my list, and I definitely believe this one still belongs. The Ambassadors by Hans Holbein the Younger was created in 1533, and at first glance at it, it just seems like a nice painting of 2 men, 2 ambassadors, but that is not the case. This painting is full of imagery that has had professionals debating for years what it really is all about. The debated figures include the 2 globes, one being terrestrial and one being celestial. There's a bunch of different measuring devices, 2 of which are sundials, the variation of textiles, the open religious text, or the difference in clothing between the 2 ambassadors. This all might seem arbitrary, but the details, of course, must have been intentional. But what does it all mean? It is believed that this painting may be trying to convey religious strife or the interruption of religious harmony, but we truly aren't sure. The most notable feature of this painting, however, is the distorted skull that is featured at the bottom middle of the painting. The anamorphic skull is meant to be a visual puzzle, as it requires a different perspective to clearly see, and no one is really sure why Hans gave this skull such a prominent place in the painting. One theory, however, is that this painting may be intended to show 3 levels. The heavens, which is shown by the astrolabe, then the earthly world, which is represented by the text and the instruments, and then the final being the underworld, represented by the skull. It is possible that Hans may have just wanted to remind us all of our mortality. In our number 8 spot today, we have the giants in Egyptian paintings. This one is less of a specific painting and more so just a feature that is seen in a lot of ancient Egyptian paintings. There's a common theme of giants in these. This may have been a representation of people being of a higher status or being the more important figure in the painting, but many believe that this may be a sign that there were really giants in ancient Egypt. Considering how strange the pyramids are to us and how little we really know about their construction, how can we say for sure that there weren't giants? If there were, what happened to them? This is one that really has me stumped. What do you guys think? Let me know below in the comments if you think this is a case of the person being depicted as a giant because of their social status, or do you think it's possible that giants really did exist at one point? In our number 7 spot today, we have Medusa. Another one of the more recent paintings on today's list is Medusa by Caravaggio. We all know the story of Medusa, the woman with snakes for hair that when you look at, you turn to stone, and this is a painting that really captures her essence perfectly, as well as capturing a horrific moment. This painting was meant to be a depiction of the defeat of Medusa. The legend goes that Perseus, who is the son of Zeus and Danae, was given a shield by Athena. He took this shield to battle Medusa and managed to outsmart her by letting her catch a glimpse of her own reflection in the shield. She then turned herself to stone, and this is when he took his sword and beheaded her. That is the moment this painting is portraying, the moment that Medusa was beheaded. I'm not sure if it really gets more cursed than that. This painting was created by Caravaggio in 1597, and it was actually his second of the kind, which is honestly kind of creepy. In our number 6 spot today, we have Hell. I'm not necessarily sure if I have to explain this one because the name really does speak for itself. This painting by Hans Memling was created in 1485, and it truly is terrifying. This is one of 3 double-sided panels that were created, and it features a banner that reads, "There is no redemption in hell." This painting features some sort of devil creature with fangs and bat-like wings and features, and it has another entire face on its belly. Its hands and feet are claw-like, and it is depicted stepping or dancing on the backs of people who are in the mouth of some sort of a beast, of course engulfed in flames. This whole painting is absolutely terrifying, especially for those who believe in the existence of hell. It would be extremely interesting to know exactly where the inspirations for this piece came from, as it certainly is unlike anything I have ever seen before. In our number 5 spot today, we have The Supernatural Being. This painting was made by Katsushika Hakusai, and it belongs to the Japanese genre of art that is about supernatural beings which are painted on wood blocks. The painting depicts a skeletal man who truly is straight out of a nightmare. The story behind this one is that it apparently is about an actor who was killed. The legend states that he actually ended up coming back to life like a zombie, and that is what this painting is about. Well, I guess it's more like a zombie ghost thing, as he comes back to haunt his wife and the new man she has fallen in love with. This legend is already quite terrifying, and the artist found a way to really bring that horror to life. His depiction of the sunken eyes and the horrifying grin with the clear representation of the thin skin and those spindly little fingers really make this painting what it is, and that is a work of sheer terrifying art. In our number 4 spot today, we have the UFO. This painting comes from an unknown source from around 1350, and it is depicting the crucifixion of Jesus Christ surrounded by a crowd of people with some extra special visitors. These visitors seem to be of the extraterrestrial variety. On either side of Jesus in the painting, there appears to be some sort of UFO that contains strange-looking humans? It is very obvious that any sort of flying object during these times just did not exist, so the fact that it's one we as humans have never seen before is all the more interesting. Many people speculate that it is possible that these creatures may have been deities or perhaps angels, but there were no wings or halos or any other sign of angelic or divine features. It is possible that maybe humans have always been obsessed with the idea of alien life, and maybe the belief in UFO stems all the way back to them, but maybe this is a sign that aliens did visit Earth at some point long ago. Either way, it certainly is quite suspicious and a little bit creepy. In our number 3 spot today, we have the lizard hands. In 2002, in a cave discovered in the western deserts of Egypt, researchers found a ton of paintings on the walls, thought to be dated back at least 8,000 years, if not longer. The paintings featured animals, humans, and sometimes headless creatures, which led to the cave being nicknamed the Cave of the Beasts. But there are also hundreds of handprints outlined, which are both very cool and very eerie. The most unusual part of the handprints, however, are the 13 that are extremely tiny. This would be endearing and very cute, but what was once thought of as little tiny baby hands are actually not even human at all. An anthropologist realized this in 2006 when she saw that they were much too small and that the fingers were much too long. It is thought that these handprints may belong to lizards or perhaps baby crocodiles, but we still aren't really sure. It is definitely interesting and kind of fascinating to see all these handprints on the walls of the cave, but it definitely carries a mystery that we may never know the answers to. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Tomb of Roering. In 2006, a grave robber who had been caught unveiled a secret in exchange for some leniency in his sentence. This secret is what unearthed this next cursed painting. He helped provide information that led to the unearthing of the Tomb of Roaring, which is one of the oldest tombs ever found in Europe. Inside the tomb were things like a sword, Greek vases, metal meat roasting spits, and a painting. This painting is one of the oldest in Europe, and it is believed to have belonged to a warrior prince. The painting features what was originally thought to be lions, but it is now believed that they are probably deer or horses. I'm not sure about you guys, but unearthing a secret tomb with information given to you by a grave robber seems like a perfect recipe for something cursed, and I'm not sure if we should have opened that thing. Who knows what it could have unleashed on the world? In our number 1 spot today, we have the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is a painting that comes all the way from at least 7,000 years ago. This painting is the main part of a mural that is located in Utah's Horseshoe Canyon. The entire mural is huge, as it is 300 feet long and features around 80 figures, and it was likely painted by ancient nomads. The technique used to create this image was by filling their mouths with red ochre tinted paint and spraying it out onto the sandstone. The paint was a mix of their blood and clay that was binded together by urine. This is all super cool and kind of gross, but here's the creepy thing. No one knows why these paintings were created or what they represent. Maybe they just like to paint, but it is kind of crazy to think about what this figure could have meant to them. Was it part of a legend? Was it something they saw in real life? This is just one of those mysteries that unfortunately is buried with the people of the past, and we are just left to speculate exactly what this could be about.
Kicking off the list at number 10, the creation of Adam. We'll start this list off with one of the most famous paintings of sculptor and artist Michelangelo. The creation of Adam. You've seen it at one point or another, or you've seen it referenced at one point or another. It was painted back in 1508. The poster of E.T. was inspired by this painting. With little hands, little phone. Memes have been on a whole new level thanks to Michelangelo in this piece. But what's the dark background here exactly? Perhaps the plethora of naked folks in the sky, all bunched up together? Not exactly. It was known that back in the 1500s, Michelangelo used to dissect bodies, all in the name of art. Of course, why not? He would create anatomic artwork. That's why his creation of Adam kind of looks like he's crawling out of an organ. To be honest, I never noticed it at first. Now, I can't unsee it. That's definitely the inside of a body. The Sistine Chapel has many dark pieces of art. I may or may not mention another. Number 9, Bill Clinton. We've all heard that clip downloading music growing up. You know, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Like, bro, I'm trying to listen to Christmas music. What is this? Whose voice is this? What did I download? Why is this computer not working anymore? I'm so grounded. Back in 2006, former US President Bill Clinton showed off this beautiful portrait of himself done by the incredible artist John Nelson Shanks. As far as portraits go, this is beautiful, the art is beautiful and all that, but that pose, I mean, I don't know, something's off about it. His stance is like, let me redo it. Like, he just looks uncomfortable, you know? He doesn't look ready yet. Well, that's because the shadow on the left side of the portrait, it's meant to represent Monica Lewinsky. I'm not even lying to you. I knew it. I felt like there was some darkness in here. I'm like, oh, something's off here. There's some shady history around. Pun intended. The artist himself admitted that this was indeed the case. He used the dress shape as symbolism to the scandal while he was creating the artwork. I thought the dark background here was Bill's pants, but well, I was wrong. That's why we're here. We like to educate. Number 8, the Madonna with Saint Giovanni. For this next one, we'll be taking a look at a painting from the 15th century by artist Domenico Ghirlandaio. This painting is currently in the Hall of Hercules in Palazzo Vecchio in Florence. Also, if I'm saying any of these names wrong, you can tell me. It's probably gonna be a lot of them. I'm trying. The painting shows the Virgin Mary, infant Jesus, of course, with a six-pack for some reason. And over her right shoulder, we can see this object floating in the sky. Let's take a closer look at that, shall we? What is that? Is that a drone? A magnetic balloon? A weather balloon? Those weren't around then. What's even more interesting is that a man is looking up at the sky at this object. He's even covering his eyes, shielding the sun to try and get a better look. Man's going blind to try and see what's hovering above him. It's always a good sign as well when your dog is barking at something next to you in the sky. Art historians believe that the object is an angel resembling a cloud, while others believe that it's a clear sign of alien visitors. I'm others. I'm like, oh, E.T., the whole thing, this is starting to make more sense now. What do you guys think? Was this the 15th century version of drawing the sun at the top corner of your painting? Or did this mystery artist just document UFO footage with his own brush? Number 7, Cafe Terrace at Night. Upon first glance, you can tell this is a piece done by the fabulous Vincent van Gogh. The blue tones, the streaks. I did the Van Gogh experience downtown Toronto and it was mesmerizing, honestly. The floor is moving, I was like falling into the walls and everything. It was great. While his 1888 oil painting, Cafe Terrace at Night, looks like a quiet late night summer dream, it's actually pretty dark when you start looking closely. I'm not a Van Gogh expert by any means, but Jared Baxter, he is. Back in 2015, Jared brought forth this idea that Cafe Terrace at Night was really Van Gogh's version of The Last Supper. This figure in the center with long hair and 12 surrounding individuals, one of which is slipping into darkness. It checks out. He also says there are hidden crucifixes in this painting. I knew there was something spiritual about that Van Gogh exhibit. I knew it all around me. I'm like, is that a floating crucifix? Where'd it go? It's gone. Number 6, Medusa. Another one of the most recent paintings on today's list is Medusa by Caravaggio. It was done back in 1597. Crazy that that's a recent painting. That's so long ago in my head. And this photo, I'll admit right off the bat, is a little bit haunting. It's a little gory, it's a little graphic. But where does this idea come from? What compels a person to spend this long on a scary painting? The entire time I'd be like, We all know the story of Medusa, the woman with, snakes for hair. When you look at them, you turn to stone and then you're stuck forever and it's horrible. Well, this is a painting that really captures her essence, her beauty, really just, her complexion is so nice, her snake complexion. The snakes really add to the moment, without taking away. The blood oozing out of her neck also draws the eye. It's a nice accent. This painting was meant to be a depiction of the defeat of Medusa, obviously. The legend goes that Perseus, who is the son of Zeus and Danae, was given a shield by Athena. He took said shield to battle Medusa, and he managed to outsmart her by letting her catch a glimpse of her own reflection in that shield. Bam! You played yourself. Yeah, she turned herself into stone, and then this is when he took his sword out and, you can probably fill the rest in. You've seen Game of Thrones. A happy moment, perhaps? I don't know. Imagine having this in your home. I wouldn't sleep. That's terrifying to look at. Number 5, the Mona Lisa. No way she's on this list. What is she up to? How can the Mona Lisa possibly be on this dark messages list? She's literally just... She's chilling out. She's so calm. Another masterpiece from Da Vinci, coming from the 15th century. There's already been, of course, hundreds of theories surrounding this painting. Like perhaps she could have been pregnant, given her stance with the hands doing the thing. And the veil over her shoulders, those were worn often by pregnant women during the Italian Renaissance. But back in 2011, a clue was found in the painting. Yeah, a clue, like we're national treasure all of a sudden. Silvano Vincetti supposedly found letters and numbers painted into her eyes. Teeny tiny microscopic numbers and letters. How fun is that? Yeah, I was at my desk earlier and my forehead was like touching my computer screen. I was like, really? Are you sure? I was looking, couldn't find anything. My eyes aren't that great. The L over her right eye stands for Leonardo, and in the other eye, there's a 72, the numbers 7 and 2. We believe so far this relates to Christianity and Judaism. 7, the creation of the world, and 2, the duality of men and women. Meanwhile, I'm over here drawing that really cool S. I think I nailed that, I'm not gonna lie. Number 4, The Ambassadors. This one got me, I'm not gonna lie, I got the creeps after this. The Ambassadors is a painting from 1533. I've seen this one before, as I'm sure you have at one point or another. Hans Hobbiant Youngers painted this lovely room with, scholars. There's a globe, a mandolin, to pass the time, help inspiration, that's why we get mandolins. We have one in the corner here at the studio. Chris whips it, often. But at the bottom, we see an anamorphic skull. It makes you want to cock your head around almost. It doesn't seem to fit in properly. Like the angle of the skull is wrong. It looks like whenever I try and use Photoshop, it's just something's off. Experts believe this was done intentionally to remind us that death is around the corner. So when I was looking at this, I was like, why is that doing that? And I'm like, oh, death is around the haunting. Next. Number 3, The Old Guitarist. Any fans of Game of Thrones on here? Well, this next one gives off major White Walker vibes. The Old Guitarist is, well, exactly what you think. It's an old man, hunched over, white hair, playing a guitar. This would be creepy regardless, just on its own. But when Pablo Picasso was putting together this masterpiece back in the early 1900s, he had some tricks up his sleeve. At the end of the 1900s, in 1998, researchers used infrared on the painting. Again, National Treasure style for some reason. And this time, it wasn't a hidden message, it was a hidden woman. Yeah, another woman was painted underneath the elderly man. So because this paint is naturally fading now, she's becoming more and more clear to see. That is so deep. That's the most deep thing. Am I into art? Am I enjoying art? Am I researching? This is fun. I like this. Number 2, Netherlandish proverbs. Back in 1559, Peter Bruegel the Elder, great name, created this oil painting, and we're still trying to unravel everything in here. In this painting, for one, it's massive. There's a lot going on. It's on display currently in the Gemälde Gallery in Berlin. It's got a lot going on, and when you really start to focus, you can see some weird shit going on in this painting? What is that guy doing? That guy's banging his head off the wall. Walter White's been throwing pizzas on the roof for some reason. That fish ate a bigger fish. This dude fell off an ox onto a donkey. What kind of heist was going on in this town? What is happening? Ah, I see. It's supposed to be horrible. Lovely. Proverbs were a hot topic back in the 1500s. Apparently, over 100 Dutch proverbs and idioms are seen in this painting. He also aimed to illustrate the stupidity of man, and given how much of a show this town looks like, I'd say Peter nailed it. And finally, number 1, the Arnolfini portrait. This one is the most impressive paintings on our list. I am a sucker for reflections. And for this one, we'll be looking at Jan van Eyck's painting from 1434. It's quite old, the oldest on our list. This is an oil painting titled the Arnolfini Portrait. It shows Giovanni da Niccolao Arnolfini, his wife, and a little doggo. In the background, that's where things get mysterious. There's a mirror, a painted mirror. It's been widely believed that Jan is in the painting themselves. We love an artist cameo, nice. I'm actually in that wall too. Believe it or not, you just can't see me yet. It hasn't been long enough. Also, written in Latin above the mirror, there's a message. A Latin message. Let's do it. The message reads, Jan van Eyck was here. 1434. That's gotta be the oldest blank was here of all time. Even older than Brooks was here from Shawshank Redemption. That was pretty old. A message like that with the artist hidden in the painting, that gives me goosebumps all around. And I'm not really entirely sure why.